So, guys, welcome to the Freedom Friday call. It's Friday, March 10th, and today we are going to talk about group presentations. You want to, you bet if you go back and you look at a lot of the top producers, yes, there are some people. Jeremy yesterday on our call mentioned that he's never done a group presentation, yet he's writing Eagles every single week. So, can it be done just walking into businesses and getting referrals and going to see the next ones? Absolutely. And guys, eventually you will find that when you do the right things, when you set up groups and then you do an effective job in front of those groups, you now have dozens of people, sometimes hundreds of people that are now excited about sitting down with you and getting their families protected. Okay, guys, remember, the job never gets easier. The job is the job. Okay, but what happens is you get better at it. And when you get better at it, it sure seems easier. Okay, it's all perspective. What's really easy for one person that's paid his or her dues and put in the effort and develop that skill, what seems easy seems really hard for someone who's brand new and hasn't developed those skills yet. So guys, remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was a skilled salesperson. So give yourself some grace, but also be hard on yourself in the fact that you're taking time each evening outside of IPA time, and you're investing in your business with effort, with learning. Remember, guys, entrepreneurs, guys, I would encourage you guys. There's a book out called The E-Myth. The E-Myth. If you have never read that book, I encourage you to get that book and read it. Amazon Prime can have it on your doorstep tomorrow morning. Guys, the E-Myth talks about, the E stands for entrepreneur. And there's a big myth out there that, hey, just because someone's a great plumber, hey, you should start your own plumbing business. Well, guys, doing the work inside of a business and running a business are two very different things, to be clear. Okay. And so it also talks about in there the difference between working in your business and working on your business. Can anybody give me a quick short definite difference between those two, working in your business and working on your business?
In the field, getting better. At home, planning and getting better.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that, Zach. Guys, we're in our business 40, some people 50, 55 hours a week. That's when we are in the field, and our effort is, how do I get in front of the next person? What's the next thing I can do right now to get myself in front of a person giving a demonstration? Guys, when you're giving demonstrations out there, you're giving those demonstrations with whatever skill level you brought to the table that day, okay? Professional golfers don't show up to a golf tournament and get better that morning on the driving range, okay, and then go out and kill it. Or they don't get better in the middle of their 18-hole round and win the tournament. Where they got better was the days and the weeks and the months before that, with all the repetitions on the driving range, all the practice that went into it. Guys, with salespeople, it's the same way. You don't necessarily develop your skill level in the middle of a day. You're doing demonstrations with whatever skill level you have. What you do is you go home that night after slaying the dragon and you listen to the tapes of your presentations. You cringe a little bit with, ooh, that's not anywhere close to what the sales talk is. And then you consciously make those changes. You go out and you record presentations of top producers that are doing better than you. And then you make those adjustments, right? Guys, when your trainer goes out with you and says, hey, you need to change this. You're doing this well, this needs to change. And then they work with you the next week and you haven't made the change. Guys, that's not working on your business, right? We got to work on and make those adjustments and be coachable, just like we said we would be when we accepted the position. So, guys, a professional football team, just to put it in perspective, they work in their business. They have a 60-minute game once a week, okay? They practice 40 hours throughout the week to perform for 1 hour a week in a game, okay? Guys, think about it. We are in the game 40 to 55 hours a week. Okay. How much study time, how much preparation are we putting into that game? Because the amount of time that you put into preparation, learning, skilling up is in direct proportion with how well you do during the game. Okay. So guys, I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about doing group presentations. and doing them effectively. Now, guys, if you've been out and you've seen 3 group presentations, you've probably seen them done 3 different ways. Okay. So is the way that I do it the be all end all? No. It's just something that worked really, really, really well for me, and helped me sell over $500,000 of premium in my first year in this business, and over $250,000 of premium the next 4 or 5 years after that too. So it's worked pretty well. So I'm just going to share with you guys a few basics, and I hope you're somewhere comfortable where you can take some notes and jot these things down. I will also email out my notes for those of you that are moving, but if you will write these down, it will land better than if you just read my notes. So just a couple basics about group presentations, guys. Number 1, okay, you want to have control of the group by always standing on your feet during the entire presentation. Hopefully they're sitting. Ideally they're sitting, you're standing, okay? And when you're standing, you should be moving around, okay? If you have more than if you have probably 20 people or less, you can probably just walk around with your iPad and keep that in front of everybody. If it's larger than that, you may need to have yourself some sort of a projector that you can put your presentation up on. Okay, guys, with technology these days, for $100, you can get a little projector you can hold in your hand that you can take in there with you, hook up to an iPad, and rock and roll with it. So greet people as they come in with a smile, and through small talk about why you're here, find out who they know who've dealt with something that we cover. Okay, so you don't want to sit over here in the corner and be all quiet and then just kind of come out and do your deal. Meet people, explain to them, hey, I'm Van, Davenport, Global Life Family Heritage. I'm actually going to be sharing with you guys some supplemental coverage today. We give money to people when they get sick. They go through things like cancer and heart attacks and strokes and injuries. Gosh, everybody here knows someone. I can tell from your facial expression, you know someone who's dealt with it. Can I ask you who's the closest person to you? And they'll tell you, oh yeah, my mom had cancer. Oh yeah, I had an uncle that had prostate cancer. Okay, guys, chat these people up. Okay, before the group presentation, find out, and as you find out, ask them about that. Show empathy on your face. Oh my gosh, you've had it in your family. I'm so sorry. Is she okay? Did she survive it? No, she passed away. Oh gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, he got through it. Okay, did he have some treatments and surgery? Golly. And they'll tell you, yeah, it was definitely a struggle. Hey, Mike, can I ask you a favor? I'm going to be giving a presentation up here in like 20 minutes, and the people in here don't know me from Adam, but they know you. Would it be okay if I, in my presentation, called on you and had you share a little bit about what you just shared with me about how your uncle went through some struggles financially, and something like this would have really come in handy? Sure. Okay, great. Guys, when you do that, you now have somebody on the inside that they know and that they trust that's now on your team and will share that. Guys, that's huge. I call it having a plant. It's like you're planting one of them in your presentation to help you. Okay? So have that plant in there. 1, maybe even 2 people, okay? And just kind of prep them on what to share. Okay, guys, that'll go a long way in your presentation. Okay, guys, next point is keep your presentations to 10 to 12 minutes max. Okay, or you won't be invited back. If you get up there and do some half an hour filibuster in front of a group, it's going to be hard for them to believe that you're only going to need a couple more minutes with each person to wrap things up. Okay, keep it short. Okay, next thing is bring food that's appropriate. There we go. So bring food, guys, that's appropriate for the time of day. Guys, people love free stuff, and people are happy when they are eating. Okay. There's been studies show that literally dopamine is released in a person's brain when they are eating, making them happy. Happy people buy more often than grumpy, hungry people do. Okay. So you got a presentation at 7 a.m. in a plumbing company. You better get there and get the coffee and donuts. Make them happy. Okay. You're going to go into a fencing company. Swing by McDonald's and get a dozen biscuits. Okay. Make an investment. You're catching up with people for a lunch meeting. Bring some pizzas. Okay. People will eat it and they'll appreciate it. Whether they say it or not, they do. So, guys, dig in on the iceberg page. This is the next one. Dig in on the iceberg page big time so people understand the need and they understand how this is not health insurance and it's not life insurance. That is what they are assuming. Okay. They're assuming, oh, I've got health insurance, life insurance, I'm all good. They need to understand that this is different. Okay. At the very beginning, you want to ask people, hey, everybody, if I could ask your help, please, if you have any questions, and some of you will, please write those down and I'll get those answered at the end. There's a really good chance that I'll answer your question anyway with what I naturally say. But if I don't, then when we get one-on-one afterwards, I can definitely answer your questions one-on-one. Do not try to answer every question as they come in, or one question will lead to another, and next thing you know, they're in charge. Remember, he who talks the most dominates the conversation. He who asks the most questions controls the conversation. If you're fielding questions from people, they're in control. And you're the one reeling, okay? So if somebody does pop in and ask you a question, as they oftentimes will, you say, sir, you know what? That's an awesome question. That's a great example of one of those things you might want to write down, and we can definitely get that answered at the end when we get one-on-one. You do that, you might even have a couple people go, ooh, but it just shows that you're in charge, okay? I already told you, write down your questions, and now here you are asking me a question. That's a great example of one of those questions you just want to write down. And I'll be sure to answer those one-on-one when we get a chance at the end. Okay, cool, thanks. And then move on. Don't answer their question. Okay, you're in charge. Last couple things. Do not show too many benefits. Do not show every benefit in this policy, guys. You don't have time for that. Guys, that's the steak. You want to sell the sizzle, not the steak. The iceberg page, direct and indirect costs, and one or two really good IRAs, that's the sizzle. People don't buy this because they get their flights paid for if they go to the Mayo Clinic. They buy this because they would be in a really tough situation, unable to pay their mortgage and car payment, utilities and other bills if they couldn't work for 6 months to a year because of something like this. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Okay. Last one, let them know. You want to say this out loud, and you want to hold up your group survey cards, okay? Proof is great, guys. And by the way, it's on the same note. When you're out there selling, okay, and when you're out there approaching businesses, guys, always, 100% of the time, have one of these enrollment cards with you. Always, just like you have your iPad. Never leave home without your iPad. Never leave home without a yes card. Okay, why? Because when you're explaining to them how this works, you say, yeah, we just take 10 minutes. I'll bring food in here for everybody. They eat, they're happy. I'll give you credit for it. You're the hero. Often a great new benefit without having to pay a nickel for it, which I won't mention. But when we get done, I'm just going to pass out these little survey cards. It's got the little direct cost versus indirect cost so people understand the need. And on the back, it just says, hey, now that you understand the need, all that's left to find out is how much it costs, how much does it pay, and how's the money back feature work. And they just put their information on here, and I follow up with them one-on-one. Catch up with the yeses, high five the no's, thank them for their time. Really easy. Guys, this is what's called proof. When people see this, they go, oh, this isn't his first rodeo. They do this for a living. Okay, I can trust this guy. Okay, that seems really simple. Guys, carry these around and show them to people. Okay? Seen so many people in the field out there trying to explain to people, set up an enrollment, and take this with you. It's proof. It's easy. And it weighs 1/1000th of an ounce. It's easy to carry. So let the people know, like before you start, hey guys, when we get done, I'm going to pass around one of these cards to you. Okay. And then I'm going to walk back around and I'm going to collect them. Okay. These don't go home. These aren't for you to take home and read over and bring back later. And by the way, just so you understand, filling one of these out is not getting you enrolled. This is just your request for more information. Okay. There's no commitment to this. There's just getting information. So you want to let buying atmosphere on that, but you want to get these back. Okay. Guys, we've all done enrollments where you start passing these out and you see women start putting these in their purse. Nah, that's not. I'm going to make one lap around and then I'm going to make another lap around and pick them up. Okay. Guys, the last thing is have a pin for every person there. If you're doing an enrollment with 30 people You bring 30 pins. Hope maybe you don't need them, but guys, there is nothing worse than having 15 people out of your 20 people in a presentation leave without filling this out because there was 2 pins in the room and people are sitting around waiting on a pin. Don't be that person. Go get a pack of pins and take them with you every time. Okay. Better to have pins are like cancer policies, right? It's better to have a bunch and not need them than need a bunch and not have them. So I'll pause right there, guys. Anybody hear anything that was helpful?
Most definitely. You got a minute for a question, sir?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Well, unless you want, actually, Jason, you might want to write that down. We'll get to it at the end.
Oh, you're in charge. You got it.
Go ahead. What's your question, Jason?
Hey, look, if you already are there times where you don't need to do the group presentation, like if you already have the roster and you have the office, you have the approval to sit down one-on-one with everybody if it's like 15 to 20 people, or do you still go through with the group presentation?
Listen, that's up to you. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. Just understand the benefit of doing a group presentation is that you can get a plant in there. You can get someone else speaking that someone else is speaking, telling you about what their aunt or uncle or parent or so-and-so went through and how this would have helped. You can drum up a lot more interest from people from that group presentation. Now, understand too, if you're not going to have control of that room and you're going to let that one old dude in the back of the room that knows everything, okay, speak up and say that and run it for you and ask you 4 questions and you're going to lose control, it could have the opposite effect. So it's up to you. It can be a great thing if you're good at it. It can be a negative thing if you don't take control of that group. One thing I've found, though, another thing of benefit of group presentations is they save me a lot of time, because when I go back and sit down with an individual, I'm not starting all the way back at the very beginning. Where I'm starting is on the iceberg page. And I'm saying, you might have remembered from my presentation, we talked about the difference between direct costs and indirect costs. Okay. Now, direct costs are doctor bill, hospital charges, medical expenses. Okay. Indirect costs are different for everybody. But what are the indirect costs that it would affect your family, given your situation? And you read their situation right off here because they put single parent or they put that they're married, have kids. Given your situation, which of those indirect costs would affect you the most? So you want to go back and make sure they understand their need, right? And you obviously got to go back and give a great buying atmosphere to make sure you're getting a yes or no today. But you get a chance it advances the conversation quite a bit when you're sitting down with people. So guys, I'm going to rapidly, a little faster than I would in front of a group, go through my group presentation with you. Feel free to jot down some notes, but I do have this outlined. This just takes practice, guys. It takes practice. It takes writing it out. It takes rehearsing it. It takes getting good at it, because these enrollments, guys, this is what helps people that have never written an Eagle before all of a sudden come in and write 15K in a week. Okay. There's going to be somebody on this call right here that's never written an Eagle before that next week does, because they got into a group presentation and did this the right way. Okay. So, hey everybody, guys, nice to meet you today. My name is Van Davenport. I work with a company known as Globe Life. I'm in the Family Heritage Division. Globe Life was started back in 1900. So they've been around 120 years, but to be fully transparent, I have not been with them the entire time. Okay. That will normally elicit more chuckles than it just did on this presentation right here, guys. Usually you get some people that get that that's a joke and they laugh. You know, guys, your owner, Mark, is making a new benefit available, and he's asked me to share it with you. Okay. Now I promised that I would keep it under 3 hours. Okay. So we need to go ahead and get started now. Now pause for a second, and you're gonna see some faces like, what the heck? Like, I'm just kidding, guys. A little smile, just kidding. This actually, the group part of this presentation is gonna take us about 10 minutes. This will be the most pain-free insurance presentation you've ever been a part of. So just don't worry. Guys, be funny, make money. Make some people laugh at the beginning. That's always a good thing. It lightens the mood, okay? Does anybody here know what supplemental insurance is? And guys, notice my nonverbal cues. Raise your hand. Anybody here know what supplemental insurance is? Okay. Open your eyes big, and you're going to see some people raise their hand. Okay. Yeah. What is it? What do you think it is? Yeah, it pays you money. Yeah, exactly. Pays you money when you get sick. Sometimes that sickness might be cancer. Sometimes it might be a heart attack. Could be a stroke. Could be a serious injury. That could be this pandemic that we've just had, right? Could be COVID. Okay. So why do you think people need money when they're injured or when they're sick? To pay the bills. Yeah, right. Yeah, you got bills to pay, right? Those bills that health insurance, which I believe you guys have Blue Cross and Blue Shield here in Virginia. You guys have Anthem. Awesome. Great health insurance. Anthem's not going to pay your home bills, right? That's what we call indirect costs or out of pocket expenses. Okay. So, guys, the products that we offer are, and you and I guys have a brochure for every product with you, right? We do a heart plan. We do a heart and stroke plan. We do one for accidents. Okay. We have one for hospitalization. We have an ICU plan for anything catastrophic that can put you in the intensive care. And we do some life insurance as well. Okay. Show them visually, guys. Remember, people learn visually. Have your props with you. So, guys, instead of explaining each one of these today for time's sake, because again, I'm not going to take the 3 hours. That was a joke. I'm going to just talk about one of our products that seems to be in really, really high demand today. But no, when we sit down, you can enroll in any of these that make sense for you. Okay. The one that I'm going to talk to you about is our cancer plan. Okay. And when we get together one-on-one later, we can discuss if any of those others are a concern for you due to your specific situation. So let me ask you real quick, guys, who in here knows someone that's ever dealt with cancer? Raise your hand, guys. Walk around, raise your hand. You're going to have people raise their hand. Okay. How about a heart attack or a stroke? Anybody know someone's had a heart attack, stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes, any of that? Raise your other hand. Okay. How about a serious injury? Anybody know someone that's got hurt on the job, off the job? Doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. God, man, that covers everyone in here. Like, I didn't see a person that didn't raise their hand. Okay. Now, I wish I could say that the number of people who know someone that's dealt with cancer and heart issues and injuries is surprising, but just about everybody knows someone that's dealt with or is dealing with cancer. Okay. Me personally, both of my parents had cancer. Mom had it twice. Endometrial in the 90s and breast cancer about 12 years ago. Okay. Dad had skin cancer most of his adult life. Okay. So whatever your situation is, share it right there. Now, according to the American Cancer Society, cancer is now an epidemic. Okay. It'll affect 1 out of every 3 men, 1 out of 3 women, and 3 out of every 4 families. Of course, we always want to be in that 4th family. But with cancer, you never can tell, can you? Yep. And just as you guys looking around, make eye contact with people and shake your head. Okay. Cancer plays no favorites. 1 out of 8 women, breast cancer. Cancer is the second leading killing disease for kids ages 1 to 14, and 1 out of every 6 men will get prostate cancer, which is now one of the leading causes of death in men. And nearly everyone I talk to is concerned about the devastating effects that cancer is having on their families, neighbors, and their loved ones. That's why Family Hair has developed a Cancer Care Plus plan. Okay, the plan pays benefits directly to you. While health insurance pays doctors and hospitals to keep them in business, we pay you to keep your family in business. Keep in mind, your health insurance does not pay you a dime. Okay, and you can cover your children or your spouse, which you can't do that on workers' comp or disability. Okay. Now, I've never had a person sign up for this and say, Van, I can't wait to use my new cancer policy. Okay. I can't wait to get cancer so I can use this and take some time off. Or I can't wait to have an accident so I can stay home and watch some TV for a while. This is something that people want to own, but they never want to use it. So, hey, Gareth, can you hit mute for me?
Or bring in the inside.
Hey, Van, I think you muted yourself.
Sorry about that. I did. I thought I was muting the person talking, but so back to, yeah, sorry about that, guys. So, Zach, I've never had a person sign up for this plan and say, man, I can't wait to use it, right? No, nobody signs up. I can't wait to get cancer so I can take some time off work, right? And spend some extra time with the family, okay? This is something that people want to own, but they never want to use, right? But let me ask you something. What's the downside of insurance when you don't use it?
You just spent a bunch of money.
Yeah, your money's gone, right? It's just like you might as well just throw it in the trash. You didn't use it. Now, you had the protection, but man, that money's gone, right? Well, guys, ours is a bit different, Okay. You guys, most insurances are rented. Okay. Let me take a quick poll here, guys. Who in here rents where they live? Like an apartment kind of situation? Raise your hand, right? And look around. You're going to see most of the young people there raise their hand in the group. Okay. Okay. Now let me ask you, just curious, who owns their home? Who has a mortgage? Okay. Okay. And you see most of the older people are raising their hand. Now, let me ask you guys that just raise your hand there. Why would you want to own your home? Wouldn't it be easier to just rent it and let the landlord fix stuff when it breaks? Like, why would you want to own it? You guys can answer if you want to. This is like if one person wants to chime in.
Because if I own the house, I'm not losing the money.
Yeah, if you own the house, you're not losing that money. You have what's called equity, right? Every time you make a payment, that's one less payment you have to make, right? So after you've made that last mortgage payment, you don't have to pay to live in the house anymore, do you? It's paid for. Okay? And how long are most mortgages? 20 years to 25, 30 years, right? Well, Family Heritage took the average of that, 25 years. Okay. And after you've owned this policy for 25 years, you get all your money back, minus any claims that are paid to you. Okay. Or just like a mortgage, you can tell them to keep your money and you've got, and your insurance is free for the rest of your life. You just made your final mortgage payment. Boom. I'm going to step out of role play right there for a second and just say that, guys, doing what I just said right there, telling the company to keep your money and you never have another payment to make, that's not the smartest move with your finances. It's better you to get the money so you can make interest on it. You can do something with it. But at the end of the day, if Family Heritage gave you a check for 20 grand back and you just said, no, keep it. Here's the next 20 years paid up. They'll take it. And you do have a policy that's paid up for the rest of it's done. So guys, so you will see people go, whoa, I only had to pay for it for a certain amount of years and then I've got coverage for the rest of my life. Yep, that's right. So Family Heritage looks at how much you paid into it, then how much they've paid out to you, and they refund you the difference. It's called return of premium. And then show them the three options. There's only three options of what can happen in the future, either no claim, small claim, or a large claim. If you have no claim, then everything you paid into it, you get it refunded. Just like you put it into a piggy bank. Okay. Now, if you have a small claim, like my dad's skin cancer, or $5,000, then you get the difference back. So 20,000 minus 5 would be the 15,000 you get it returned. You broke even. Thank God nothing major happened. The only time that there would not be a refund would be if you've already been paid more money than what you put into it. And if that's the case, you won. You came out ahead. Nobody complains about that situation, right? So don't you wish all your insurance was like that? Let me ask you, how many of you have gotten a refund back from your car insurance when you didn't have a wreck, or from your homeowner's insurance when the house didn't catch on fire? Doesn't happen, does it? Right. The point I'm trying to make is if you stay healthy, you get your premiums back. Okay. Now, guys, that's all I have for now. As I mentioned earlier, and then just when you pull out the survey cards, okay, with pens, this is not an enrollment form. Okay. This is just to find out which policy or policies that you'd like to get more information on. So I'm going to pass each of these out with a pen. And then as soon as I get done, I'm going to make another circle and I'm going to collect each one of these. Okay. These aren't to take home. Okay. So if someone asks for a handout, just say, hey, of course, I'll give you some information when we sit down one-on-one, which will only take another minute. Okay. I'll be here after the meeting for about an hour or so, and I look forward to connecting with each of you. Okay. Guys, if you could, before we wrap up, please take a moment to thank Mark, your owner, for thinking enough of you to make this product available to you. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time, and you guys have a blessed day. All right, guys, that's a group presentation. Give me some feedback, guys. What did you hear? What did you learn? What's maybe a little different than what you've been doing that you can go out and implement today?
I really like the fact that you asked you asked about cancer, show your hands, heart attack, stroke, show your hands, and broke it down into multiple, instead of just one time, just asking anyone who knows somebody that's been through this.
Right on.
I think it was really good to get a plan in at the beginning. Like, for instance, this morning I've got a a group presentation with a hotel staff at 9 o'clock this morning. So I think it was really nice to get a refresher to see what to do to make sure you keep it short, especially with the hotel staff. They got a lot of stuff to do. Making sure you're keeping it to that 10 to 15 minute range and having somebody there to kind of help you along. I think that was a really great idea.
Thank you for sharing that. Guys, I had a few other things. I'm sorry, one more thing.
Yeah, Van, I just wanted to point out, I like the way you tied the mortgage, 25, 30-year mortgage into our return of premium 25 years versus renting and owning. That whole analogy, that's huge. Thanks.
You're welcome, Greg. Guys, the reason I learned to do that the hard way. Why? Because I roll in there and say, hey, and you get your money back in 25 years. There's always one Yahoo in the group that goes, 25 years? That's a long time. How do we know you're even going to be here? What if I'm not going to be here for 25 years? They're going to say some jackass in the back is going to yell something like that. And that can take 20, 30, 40% of your potentially interested people away. Oh yeah, they might not. How do we know? Been here since 1900, dude. Yeah. So that's why you answer that objection in advance. This is like a mortgage. And then guys, the people in the room that have mortgages, the people in the room that rent look up to the people that have mortgages. Okay. They listen to them. They're the older folks, right? They're the examples. They're the people that manage their money better. They're smarter. And so you say, what's a mortgage? 20, 25, heck, 30 years? Well, the Family Heritage took the average of that, 25. Makes it reasonable. It's like a little price buildup, right? Right there within the amount of time to make 25 not seem like that big a deal. Guys, this stuff takes practice. I promise if you go out and try to use the mortgage analogy today, there's a good chance you're going to screw it up. It might work, but you might screw it up. And if you screw it up, doesn't mean it doesn't work. Just means you're not very good at it on the first try. And that means you need practice. Okay. That's okay. Practice it. I will send out an outline of my presentation to you guys when we get done here. I'll copy Kyle on that so he can forward it to the Schneider agents if you guys would like that. But guys, let's get out there. Let's go protect some families. And let's be sure, guys, we all saw that email from Nicole. It's goal time. Research shows that you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals if they are written down. So guys, it is time. We only got 10 days left in the first quarter. A week and a half from now, we will be in the second quarter, and the time to plan something is not after it started. You wouldn't start to plan your family vacation to California after you get in the car and start driving. You would plan that well in advance. Well, you're gonna do that, guys. Plan your next 13 weeks in advance. Think it through. Get your metrics, get your closing percentage, get your transaction size, get your hour to demo ratios together, plug those in because they're different now than they were at the beginning of the first quarter. Okay. Your hour to demo ratio should have gotten lower. Your transaction size should have gotten larger. Your closing percentage should have gotten better. Okay. If it hasn't, then we need to go back and take a look at why, so we can make sure that by the end of the second quarter it is. So those are all KPIs, guys, key performance indicators. So thanks for taking some time today on here, guys. We've been so very blessed. Let's go out and be a blessing for somebody else today. And let's get some groups. Let's get some groups set up for next week, and so we can set them up so we can go knock them down. Have fun, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Van.
Thanks, Van.